Welcome to the Hotter Than Health podcast, a plant-dominant podcast for those looking to expand and elevate their lives. Each week, we will bring you provocative conversations and topics, entertaining interviews, and some of the biggest names in health and wellness to answer your burning questions. You will leave each episode with tangible tips and takeaways and understand what it truly means to live an energized and optimized life.
Fast forward, one of our clients, her friend was my nurse, immediately after, and she said that it was one of the worst she's ever seen. But at the time, I thought that it was normal.
Hello, happy Thursday. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Hotter Than Health. Today's episode is a funny one. I say funny because I had a great time and we laughed a lot, and you will absolutely be able to hear that in the episode. Today we have on Taylor Sasser. Taylor Sasser, if you live in Charleston and you're at all a part of the fitness community, whether you've taken a class somewhere, you know someone who's taken a class, or you have just basically stepped foot into the fitness world, you've heard of Taylor Sasser. She has been in this fitness industry for the past probably 7 or so years, and this girl has some stories to tell. And if you know Taylor, she's a badass. She is not one to be messed around with. She is someone who has the biggest dick energy, but the biggest heart. She will put you in your place, but will call you to bury a dead body. She is such a fantastic friend, mother, coworker, hype woman, crazy insane style, and I'm just so honored to know that she loves me right back. She's just the best. I met Taylor when we worked together at a gym, and you'll hear a little bit about that story in a little bit. But it all kind of started when I saw how much of a badass she was as a fitness instructor, and just how much she knew about the body, and she knew how to move, and she knew how to explain, and she has such swag, and she's really cool. I don't think anyone would disagree with me on that. Today, we're going to be talking a lot about postpartum recovery. We're going to be talking about childbirth. We're talking about building a business. She started a online virtual studio in personal training in the beginning of COVID, and then it has fully evolved into what's called Baseline Studios. I train with them part-time, and I'm their in-house nutritionist downtown in Charleston, and they're opening in the Jasper in just 2 weeks. And if you're in Charleston, the Jasper is a brand new luxury apartment living in downtown Charleston on Colonial Lake. And if you're not familiar with Charleston, just think Beverly Hills, Saks Fifth Avenue. You're thinking Soho House. It is the coolest space to be, and we're really, really excited to be opening up. And she has been working her ass off to get this open, and it's going to be the most high-end, luxurious, high-quality, insane training, personal training, one-on-one small group that you've ever seen. That's just my mini plug for the Jasper. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you check it out either on Instagram or on Instagram, or on their website, Sasser Studios, Baseline Studios. You can just Google it, it'll show up. Anyways, we're getting into all of that. I thought it was really important to get a perspective from someone who had a pretty intense childbirth story. I think that so often we hear people talking about childbirth and how it's this amazing thing, it's so magical, and that's amazing. And I just experienced my sister just had a baby, and it was, of course, she said it was like the fucking hardest thing she's ever done in her life, but it was beautiful. And she was in the space that she wanted to be in, and she was able to take maternity leave to recover. And obviously, she is still working her ass off, but every person's birth story is just so different. And I think that it's important to talk about the stories that aren't so magical and fluffy and beautiful. And of course, everything ends up being amazing. She has this boy, Kingston, who is the love of her life, and she is the world's best mom. But she didn't have an easy go of it in childbirth, and I'm ready to talk about that with her. I ask her some questions, and she is graphic. So, by the way, if you are at all, actually, no, this is real life. Like, buck up, listen up. I'm not going to give a disclaimer, but anyways, I'm really excited to have this opportunity to chat with Taylor. And this was in the middle of a busy work day for her, and we were just slap happy. It's a giggly episode. She is funny. We're goofy. If you have children in the car, just know that it's basically like a South Park episode, and there's some profanity. What's fucking new? But I am so excited to have Taylor on here. We talk about the Jasper. We talk about childbirth. We talk about postpartum. And for anyone who is expecting or not expecting, but is, just likes to hear about childbirth, it's one of my favorite topics. I don't know why. Like, I'm not pregnant, but I just think that it's so interesting because you're never going to get the same story. And we go into excruciating detail. Before we get into today's episode with Miss Sasser, I wanted to remind you all that in case nobody cares, but I haven't been on Instagram in about a month. I'm sorry, it's only been 2.5 weeks, but I get back on June 1st. It has been so nice and productive to do this clarity challenge. I have our next call tonight, which is Wednesday. It's Thursday when you'll hear this, but we have set goals, and as far as the podcast goes, I just recently found out that for the past few months, we have been ranking top 100 for nutrition podcasts, and I think that that's pretty badass. I get the chart positionings sent to me every week, and there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of podcasts, and we're in the top 100, and that's fucking awesome. And it's all because of you guys. So thank you so much for all of your support. I can't tell you how much it means. If you have not subscribed, shared, liked, followed, following is now the best way to track. So if you have a second right now, take a look at the app, make sure it says follow, or check the little check mark if you're listening. Anywhere you listen, just take 10 seconds and go follow the podcast. It is huge for numbers and downloads and overall statistics being organized and straightforward and consistent. But thank you so much for everything that you do. We will be doing a listener of the week review of the week next week. So if you want the opportunity to win a tote bag, they're a Hotter Than Health tote bag. It's a cream colored tote with this big black beautiful font that says HTH, and you can take it to the farmer's market. I've got my laptop in mine right now. They're badass. If you want a chance to win one, all you have to do is go onto iTunes or Apple Podcast and write a review. If you don't know how, literally ask anyone or Google it or just kind of figure it out. You got this. I know you've got this. You're super smart and beautiful and awesome. All right. I'm done gushing. I am just happy and proud and taking a moment to see how far the podcast has come. There have been a lot of weeks where we haven't been charting at all. And now we're up there. We're having a good time. And I think that with the guests that we have coming on in June, I think downloads will be sick. I think that y'all will really like it. And I'm just excited. I am looking forward to it. And maybe next week we'll do a solo episode and I'll tell you all about the 2 senior citizens that are living at my home right now. Ooh, on the edge of our seats, hearing about the retirement community I live in. All right, let's get into it with Taylor Sasser today. You all will absolutely love her. Make sure you stay until the very end. Without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Taylor Sasser. If you can't tell already, Taylor and I have been friends for a number of years. We know each other outside of the podcast. You're kind of my boss right now. You definitely are.
I would call it a good coworker.
good coworker relationship.
Nice relationship.
But I do a couple of sessions at Baseline, which is downtown in Charleston, and it will be soon to be moving into the Jasper, which is, again, downtown Charleston. If you're local, check it out. We'll be doing a giveaway at the end. But today we wanted to talk about postpartum, building a business, being engaged, building a fitness studio within the pandemic, and all of the nuances in between. So before we get started, let's talk a little about where you grew up.
You're going to edit this, right?
I will probably keep that in.
It's because I kind of have to burp.
Oh my God, we're keeping it in. Best of luck. Tell us about where you grew up.
I will fire you if you keep that in.
You don't pay
Just
me
kidding.
anyway.
I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. All right. Did you ask me a question?
I didn't, but I'm about to. Where did you grow up? Tell us about your childhood. And if anyone knows you, they know that you are a force to be reckoned with. You've got this insane passion and energy that is terrifying. And but from a point of people just don't fuck with you. And I love it. So talk to us about how you were as a child growing up. What could people expect?
I don't know if we have enough time for that. You can call my mom. Shout out Cheryl.
Cheryl.
I don't know how to answer that question accurately. I was clumsy, pretty awkward, and I played a lot of musical instruments. So,
but did you play
opposite
trombone?
of now. I didn't blow things until later in life. Please don't use that. That was a joke.
You're welcome. Lay up.
Laid me up.
Okay, so you grew up with more of a arts background. You were
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Will you fucking A?
Rude.
It says, "Do not miss my accounting call that I had last month." This just haven't turned off my alarms. This is my life. Okay, so you grew up as more of a creative, kind of a goofy kid. Were you kind of a typical kid? Were you like smoking cigs at 10? Were you out, or were you making straight A's and,
I would go B's to A's.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I could have, and to quote every teacher that I ever had, applied myself better. I think I liked to chat and distract a good amount.
You're one of those people that you say you don't want the attention, but it somehow ends
up. I totally want the
attention. But it always ends up on you because you're one of those people that you don't have a desperate energy that you give off, so people are naturally drawn to you.
One of the nicer things you've ever said to me. Thank you.
I try.
Yeah, studying is not my strong suit. It was never my favorite thing to do. So.
Maybe not book smarts. Well, you are actually very book smart, but you're more of a problem solver, I feel like.
I would agree.
Yeah. Well, so we met in Charleston. We met during working at Hilo. And
what was that, like 19 years ago?
45 years ago. I think it was
that was
3.5 years ago. Right?
Yeah. 4, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time I met you, they wouldn't let me coach yet because I was horrific at coaching. I sounded like a chipmunk.
Oh, look at you now.
Well, I had been auditioning to coach, and they just kept telling me, "Oh, we don't have, any spaces for coaches right now. But as soon as we do, you're first on the roster."
This is the first time I've heard this story.
In walks Taylor literally 3 days later, and you walk in and you're like, I don't give a fuck. You walk in with the guys who were working there at the time. They were like, we have this girl, she's been working in a spin studio, like we have to get her in, she's so badass, like amazing. And I walk in and I'm just like, I am a fairy. I am such a pussy. And then you walk in and I was like, I love this woman.
Oh, well,
I love her. And
I had not heard that story, so.
Oh, you're welcome. Still mad at you.
I guess, yeah. Thanks for not hating me.
No, it ended up being the best fit ever because I think that the way you coach and how intentional you are, it taught me to be the coach I actually wanted to be.
Right. We all learn a lot from each other, especially in this industry. I feel like it's a lot of listening and learning what not to do from people. So I learn stuff from you every day.
It's true. I try and shove it all down your throat, literally and metaphorically. I want to actually talk about where you were when you started working in Charleston, you had a ton of different jobs, like you've done a lot of different things, but I want to talk about when you were working in a spin studio.
Okay, let's see if I can remember this.
You were working at Method Ride.
6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was at Celadon before that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my favorite place aside from here. And I was doing advertising marketing. I also was at Pure Bar. I know this is not the answer to the question that you asked me, but prefacing. And I quit my job because SJ, you know, she told me to quit my job. And she taught me everything that she knew about spin. And I worked my literal ass off for about 4 years.
You were opening and closing and teaching every class, but intense.
Yeah, I would teach probably 4 or 5 classes a day, and then train like coaches.
Yeah.
On top of that, I would sleep in the floor of the kids' room in between my 5 a.m. and 8 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed, essentially.
No.
So,
Chase delete this.
No. No. Okay.
Chase an Adderall with a 5-hour energy right before I hopped on a spin bike. It's a wonder I didn't have a heart attack.
So
learned a lot since then.
That is kind of why I wanted to talk about you starting off at a spin studio, because I talk about spin. Whenever I speak about spin, it just to me feels like a panic attack as soon as you walk in. It's just not how I'm wired and programmed to work out anymore. You and I like, you know, we like to go slow now, and we like to think about our movements and like fit sloths. And
if I think hard enough, it will be.
Yeah, I'm manifesting this ass. So now you're just in a completely different state where you started off with just being so go, 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 and now you still are go, 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 but you're not really necessarily applying that to your workouts. Can you describe what your workouts used to be like 3 or 4 years ago compared to what your workouts are now? And I think that's going to set the tone for everything else we talk about.
Yeah, during spin days, I was obviously burning a shit ton of calories all day, going as hard as I can. Much different now. Mm-hmm. And then lifting, so I didn't get injured, but lifting not in a safe way. I was lifting to compete with the boys, and I just pushed through injury, kind of kept up with anyone that I was working with, which was a catch-22. I like to be pushed, but I am super competitive. So, there's something about competing against guys on steroids that I'm just going to keep up with.
But you would be waking up at 3:30 in the morning to coach a 5 o'clock class.
Yep. I would go 3 a.m. wake up calls and then coach until like 9 or 10, go home and sleep until 3 or 4, and then do it from 4 until 8. I was getting more sleep then than I am now, though, so that's funny.
Well, fast forward to now, you have a 2-year-old son, Kingston. Your fiance, Dan, was just on the podcast last week. This is future time, but a little matrixy, but he was on the podcast yesterday. So you guys are both, you guys are both in very different parts of your life, but walk us through how you began to build Baseline. What was your realization? What was happening? I know it was during COVID, but when did you realize this can be something? And tell us a little bit about what Baseline is.
Well, I guess we'll have to start with I was wild as hell up until I had Kingston.
Legitimately so wild.
So wild. 110. I like to have a good time.
But
I think we all know that. But I did not put my burner out.
No.
So, when we got pregnant, it was 0 to 60 to 0. And I had to redirect all that I don't want to say wasted, but
all that energy,
forensic energy to things that didn't involve alcohol and spin class.
Yeah.
So we went from, doing the normal Charleston thing, going out all the time, and working to go out all the time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Work hard.
To putting that energy into my work. That's when I started at, well, I started at high-low before then, but then I started doing, are we saying high-low, or are we bleeping that out?
No.
Yeah. I started at Bleep doing, management, behind the scenes, retail stuff when I was pregnant, because I felt the need to fill the void, financially and just time-wise. And then I picked up a couple of side jobs to go back to what I was doing at Celadon, which was, way dated. But I had 3 part-time jobs and 1 full-time job when I was pregnant with Kingston. And then I had him, and all that just went down the drain.
But no, I think that it just went down a funnel and all went into one pile.
I just go, I do all.
From one extreme to another.
Until I can do nothing. So having King kind of brought that reality of like managing my time better, or trying to manage my time better. And
you also you didn't get maternity leave at all, obviously.
Oh.
Like, that's not a thing. So can you talk about that? Because I think that more and more people now are in jobs that aren't in a typical 9-to-5 where they have those benefits. Do you have any advice for anyone who is running themselves ragged and then maybe trying to like stockpile some chipmunk money in the corner for when they need maternity leave? Like, what's going on? What do you do?
If they're not giving you maternity leave, quit.
Unless it's,
it's unrealistic for people like us, and we know that in the fitness industry, you don't get paid time off, you don't get paid leave,
you work and
literally
you get paid.
Sweat for money. And it was the first time in my like adult life that I hadn't been doing that, so I didn't even have that option. When you're physically like hit with that, like I don't want to call it a boundary or handicap, but
it's an obstacle.
Couldn't, that's the word.
Handicap. They do have different parking spaces for you, so that's great. What advice would you give to someone who is going through maternity leave without any type of guidance or benefits? It's terrifying. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Kingston was a surprise. Great surprise, but I was not prepped for that. I think Dan, since you guys met him last week, he can attest it was a huge reality check. So I guess I would.
Because y'all have been dating for what, a year and a half?
Down.
6 months?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Y'all have been dating for 6 months?
Yeah, we dated less time than I was pregnant.
Wow. I didn't realize that. For some reason, you guys always just...
Hot and heavy. And here we are.
Really deep in there.
Yeah, bitching about the laundry.
Well, can we also say something? And if you want to take this out, we can. You were on birth control.
Yes, I was.
You were technically on birth control.
And...
Listen up, ladies.
Yeah. Don't take antibiotics. No, I think we went out of town one weekend and...
you went to Chicago.
Yeah, had a really good time there, obviously.
The bean.
And it was meant to be, everything. It does work out.
It does.
I would not be where I am right now had we not had King, for sure. I would have never slowed down or redirected. I think I would still be... We would probably be at Uptown Social in a few hours.
Like juggling 5 jobs.
Yeah, it definitely like pushed me in this direction in the best way possible. I've got a lot of that energy to put into things, and now I get to put it into him and then into something that actually like I needed to look more long term as soon as I got pregnant.
You're building a legacy.
Well,
you are.
Sure.
You are. It's something bigger than yourself.
And that's what I would say if anybody's pregnant out there. Listen, delete that.
No. Okay. But
if you're thinking about getting knocked up, no, delete that too. To answer your question, you just got to think ahead a little bit. Yeah. I was very here in the moment, and that's great. But you also have to plan time to take time. And I don't know. I'm just that kind of person where I'm not going to set a time for things that aren't technically productive.
Yeah. You
but
really don't.
You have to set a time, like, just to hang out, be present, chill, sleep, whatever it is. And I wish I'd taken advantage of that more when he was like a baby. I rushed back to work because I had to.
You were back to work literally. You were doing emails in 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you had a tremendous labor.
Yeah, it was fucking awful.
Okay. Okay, so this past week, I had a nutrition client reach out to me saying that they were interested in working together, but they weren't sure because they didn't know about how to meal prep or what supplements they need to be taking. They were thinking it was going to be extremely expensive and time consuming, and they just didn't know where to start. I said, sweetie, this is literally my job. Let me help you out here. This person signed up. They booked a consultation. We spoke for 30 minutes. Bada bing, bada boom. They wanted to lose weight. They wanted to feel healthy. They had no idea where to start. They've been working out for 5 days a week, seeing no changes in their body. And when it all got down to the nitty gritty of it, their biggest fear in signing up was just thinking, oh my God, it's going to be so much effort. It's going to be so much work to try and figure out all these supplements and health. And what I really wanted to make it clear to them was that as far as supplementation goes, you really only need a couple of things. Especially if you're on a plant-dominant lifestyle like me, you want to incorporate a high-quality protein powder, and you also want to incorporate minerals and vitamins and nutrients early in the morning. That is why I always recommend Organifi. You've heard me say it before, but I mean it for so many different reasons. I always recommend the vanilla or chocolate plant-based protein. Not only is it organic, but it has incredible ingredients. I trust it completely, and it's also glyphosate free, meaning that it doesn't have a bunch of residue from sprayed pesticides and crops and all these different herbicides that are carcinogenic and they cause cancer potentially. That is why I am absolutely the biggest fan of Organifi. You get so much bang for your buck, and the greens powder in the morning has been something that I have been dedicated to. I travel with it. I take it every single morning. It's almost got this like minty green flavor, and it's sweet, and it doesn't taste like a bunch of wheatgrass, I'm telling you. So when I talk about supplementation, those are two that I recommend almost immediately across the board. If you want to try these out, make sure you're checking out the vanilla plant-based protein. It also has a digestive enzyme, so if you think protein powders kind of clog you up, that will not happen with this one. And the flavor is just incredible. I like it in my coffee, in my smoothies, in my oatmeal. I had it this morning with some chia seeds. And then before that, I still had my green juice powder to remineralize, make sure that I'm getting all the nutrients that I can in the beginning of the day. And all you got to do is take your little glass of green juice. It's the easiest thing in the world for your health, right? All you need to do is go to Organifi.com/HTH and you'll get 20% off any of the products on the website. This is the best offer that they give. They don't offer this in any other website. They don't offer this online. It's just for Hotter Than Health listeners. So use the code HTH or click on the show notes and you can click on the link for Organifi and get 20% off of any of their products. And of course, if you want to book a nutrition consultation with me to see if any of my programs are a good fit for you, then all you have to do is go to my website. But head to Organifi.com/HTH and use the code HTH for 20% off at checkout for 20% off of all products. Now let's get back into this episode.
Bleeping awful.
You can cuss on this podcast. Have you heard this podcast? I want to... And I told you this before, so no surprises here. Your labor was, clearly I wasn't there, but your labor was.
I wish you were.
I know, I would have been.
This is what you should have asked Dan last week.
I almost thought about it, but then I thought that I didn't want to give him.
You know what? I don't want to know it. No, we'll keep that.
This is yours.
Yeah.
So you were working 5 jobs. it was July in Charleston.
Hotter than fuck.
Hotter than fuck. People would be missing their alarms for the 5 a.m. classes, and then I sleep on airplane mode, so you would get the call, and you would come in 8.5 months pregnant, and you would have to be demoing Bosu ball burpees.
Huge.
And so people would be like, do you want me to help you demonstrate? And you're like, I got it.
Oh, yeah. And then I was still in denial.
I was like, you actually
And it's like, don't lay on your stomach. No, it's fine. I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I just went out last night.
And anyway, so you were doing all of this, and it led up to your your delivery. Give us a taste of what went on and what you wish how you wish someone would have been advocating for you within your labor, because your labor story, I haven't heard anything like that before.
Well, we'll start with, I did not take the time to, we didn't read the books. We didn't go to the hospital. I probably still would do the same thing. Like, we didn't take a tour. I only got the tour because my blood pressure was too high, and they sent me in for, an emergency tour. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we went in. That was 3 weeks before I was pregnant. So that was the closest I got to teaching myself anything that was to come. I really didn't want to know. Went in blind, and I didn't get like a doula or birthing coach. I didn't read a fucking book. Yeah. Which I wish I had done.
To an extent, some things like that for preparation might be good, but other times it might.
Yeah, like I didn't have time. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that would have helped the process. But I do think it would have helped the before and after, because I was working out so hard, keeping up with everybody else, competing. Like, I was doing the fit challenge when I was 9 months pregnant. That was done.
And the fit challenge, you guys, it's a
6 weeks postpartum.
It's a 2,000 meter row. It's a 6-mile bike ride, and then I think something like 300 reps in the sculpt weighted part of the room. It takes people an hour of high intensity. Some people don't even finish, like, intense ass workout. But yeah, you were doing it.
Yeah, and it was stupid. Like, I wasn't thinking about how my body had changed. Like, my pelvic floor was shot before I even had Kingston. Like most people's are, if you're not, like, actively correcting what's going on.
I'm giggling now.
All the squeezes.
So you went into the hospital 3 weeks before, and then...
Wow, I'm really all over the place.
But that's why I'm here. I'm okay. Bumpers on the bowling alley.
Yeah, welcome to my inbox. So went in thinking I was going to fucking crush it, and it crushed me.
I think everyone was expecting you to literally just sneeze and it was out, because
that's how you operate. He's my child, just as stubborn as I am. My doctor was great, but, like, again, I didn't know what was going on. So I got induced, which is awful, but I was hot and large and really ready for him to come out. So we
had been giving you castor oil smoothies, going for walks.
Oh, I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. Oh, my insides.
We went on a walk, and I knew that you were about to give birth, and it was a week later.
I was doing, like, rope slams. Yeah. I mean, I remember trying to work this baby out. Yeah. And he was not ready to come out. So I got induced, and I think like 6 hours later, I don't know, my time is all messed up. Mm-hmm. But I went into labor. And then we pushed all that stuff. I had an epidural. I hated that because I had zero control of my body, and I kept thinking that I shat myself. And
did you?
I think that was the worst part. Everyone says no.
Yeah, maybe.
So we're going to go with that.
All right, great.
Yeah, or they're afraid to tell me otherwise. We'll go with first.
For your sake, I hope you got something out.
Yeah. Pooportunities.
So you got in.
What?
So you got in 6 hours later.
He was face up. So she flipped him, like, with her hands, and then I pushed. I pushed for probably 30 minutes, maybe, and you could see his head. He was crowning. I was freaking out, and then there was an emergency.
Freaking out as in you were excited, like this is about to be done?
No, I was like, how? Oh, it's only this far out? It's only this far out. Great.
It feels like there's
screaming, get out of me.
Yes.
Yeah. So you could see his head, and my doctor left to go next door to help with an emergency C-section because hospital was understaffed. It was a full moon, and I did not really believe in that bullshit, and now I do. So everyone's having fucking babies, in and out before, like even, a couple of our clients were pregnant when I was.
Yeah.
In and out, and I'm still sitting there. So I probably waited on her. She told me not to push, an hour and a half.
You were just sitting there crowning.
Yep. And my epidural was wearing off. I didn't want to hit it again because I didn't like it in the first place. So I waited till the worst part to be conscious for that. But after like an hour and a half goes by, I told the nurse I was going to push anyway. I was like, this is, insane.
Insane that you were just left there crowning.
Yeah, I went code red, so I guess they came back in, and I don't know, details are all fuzzy, which is why I wish I had someone there to kind of to help with that, or be like, this is not normal.
Yeah.
Because at the time I had no fucking idea.
Yeah.
And I had an episiotomy,
which is
where they cut your fleshy fun bridge.
Okay, so they're like,
I gotta give SJ credit for that one.
That's decent
disgusting.
Language.
Yeah. So
so they like slice into you basically.
all the way from top to bottom. They cut, but I had already torn on the side. Thank God I'm already taken. Dan Callahan doesn't look at me.
You're really selling the whole package here.
Yeah. So I tore up the side. So I had a stage 4 tear and an episiotomy, both. So that's like 2 different sets of stitches. And then this bitch comes in telling me she wants to do a C-section. And I said, the fuck no. He's coming out and pushing. You're not going to ruin me both ways. So I pushed, and needless to say, it was a horrible experience after. Like the stitches, the cleanup, they gave me pain meds, which I'm already constipated in life in general, and it just made it 10 times worse.
Yeah.
I was super out of it, and fast forward, one of our clients, her friend was my nurse, immediately after, and she said that it was one of the worst she's ever seen.
Wow.
But at the time, I thought that it was normal.
Of course.
I'm comparing myself to the girls that they're not intense. Mm-hmm. Lily Pulitzer, never picked up anything heavy in a day in their life.
Yeah.
Pushed out 4 babies without a problem, and I can't recover from one. So I was comparing myself to all of that, and just not knowing that there's not really a standard, but not having anybody to advocate for me and be like, this is not normal. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be having, be in this much pain. And my recovery process, I did what I know, what I would teach someone else. Waited the 6 weeks, I got cleared, and then went back in to take the fit challenge. I just picked up where I left off, and that was the complete wrong way to go about it. I had prolapse. Oh God, mm-hmm. This whole thing just to make me sound more attractive.
But I think that this is important to say, because when you show up and you meet people today, you're this hot blonde badass, always wearing sick Nikes and leggings, and you do not show up as someone who went through all of this and is still going through all of this. It's just a testament to, 1, you do not complain. 2, it's okay for anyone to struggle with postpartum physically. And yours wasn't even necessarily talking about a bounce back body, because at this point you were trying to just not piss yourself.
Survival mode. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you know what prolapse is, you're your ass either falls out, your bladder falls out, or your uterus falls out. I had gone into, it was I don't know, 8 weeks. I got cleared at 6. Again, my timeline is really, really mm-hmm. messed up. Anyway, I was cleared from the doctor, worked out, and something was not right. So I went in.
What did you feel? But how did you know something wasn't right?
It felt like I had a tennis ball about to pop out of my vagina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you could literally see it.
I remember one
My
time you
bladder.
told me it was like a thumb
Didn't
coming
I pull you into the bathroom? I pulled someone into the bathroom.
It wasn't me.
Yeah,
I wish it
high-low.
had been.
Actually, I think I pulled multiple people into the bathroom.
Said, excuse me.
Shout out Aiken.
Yeah. But
and then probably chased that with tequila shots. Anyway, you could physically like see my insides, and I had no idea like that this was even a fucking thing. So I get on Google, freak out, go to the doctor, and she tries to tell me that I left a tampon in.
Ugh.
And not a conspiracy theory, but I really think everyone was trying to cover their ass. So I didn't sue the hospital.
I believe that.
Which,
100%.
I mean, like, I was too busy to sue the fucking hospital.
Can you imagine if you had that time? You would have had all the time in the world to find a lawyer who would have,
Yeah.
So, well, the hospital system is literally just, it's a money grab. So they want to get people in and out as fast as possible. And not saying that nurses don't work their asses off.
Baby factory.
It's a factory. Yeah.
Yeah. So when she tells me that I left a tampon in, I absolutely lost my mind. She sent me home after she was like, basically brushed it off.
Was she not trying to like shove this thing back up into your body?
Not at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I went home and it got worse, obviously. And I was panicking. Like, it's not normal. Mm-hmm. I was also in like pain. So I went back a second time and they, tacked it up, put in one of those things. And
they gave you like a mesh.
Yeah.
hammock.
Like one of the little, I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, they shoved something up there to keep my bladder in my body and took it out a handful of weeks later. I did pelvic floor therapy, which no one pays for, by the way. Not insurance or the hospital or anybody. So I didn't have time or money for that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was working for like sweating for money. Mm-hmm. So if I wasn't physically working, I was losing. Mm-hmm. So I probably did a few weeks and, rehabbed myself. Thank God I know how. Most people don't. Mm-hmm.
What would you say to someone who is like, actually, I need to do a little bit of that therapy by myself, but I can't afford it? Would you say YouTube or?
Yeah, I actually know. There are a lot of good Instagram accounts. There are a few local girls too. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I'll give you their names because they have great stuff on Instagram. And don't YouTube it because some weird shit comes up.
And also like men.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? You don't have a vagina.
Don't let a stranger help you with this. So fast forward. If you don't know, fast forward, we go to the doctor for a third time. And I saw somebody else and she was like, this is not good. Mm-hmm. Said I would need surgery. But obviously that's going to be a huge undertaking. So I'm going to wait that out. And talking about a second kid, like, I don't know if we're obviously can't do surgery if we're going to have another one. Mm-hmm. Don't even know if I will be able to hold it in. I mean, who knows? So
slipped right out. Yeah.
I mean, that's what we thought the first time.
But also, like, what does that conversation even look like with the doctor? Hey, I'm not sure, but like, do you just try and then see? That's the hardest part.
I don't know. So, I mean, everything is like, I'm operating. It just, full circle. I had like postpartum depression. I couldn't work out. I couldn't do anything that gave me like the original, like joys I had in life. I couldn't do any of it. I was breastfeeding. That sucked. I got mastitis like 3 or 4 times. Like,
really?
It just was not. Yeah. And I think 4 months, but I kept getting infection on top of dealing with like the multiple set of stitches in my bladder. I'm painting a great picture for anyone that wants to get pregnant.
But this is real life. I mean, people don't talk about the fact that, some people do have experiences that are so smooth, and that's
Right.
amazing. And that's pretty textbook for, you know, what you can base an experience off, but every person is so different. And there's a whole spectrum, you know, some people fall on the side of maybe where you were struggling with postpartum. So mental and physical recovery was really intense and painful. And then some people have like a perfect experience where they're up and walking and going for long walks in a week.
Or so they say.
Or so they say.
Yeah. I mean, I have found since, like, you know, training, I've got this little niche, and a lot of people go through this.
Yeah.
Like, most women see some form of, like, you know, bladder incontinence, you know, pain, pelvic floor, weakness, if functioning at all. But they don't know what it is.
Yeah. You hear so many people who are working out their postpartum, and they're trying to do all these high intensity workouts, and maybe they're jumping, maybe they're doing jumping jacks.
I mean, like even your breath work, that's important. And I had a physical therapist tell me that, you know, if you're not breathing right, you know, you're not going to be able to connect to that muscle at all. So I just really enjoy teaching people the little things to go behind each workout. And this isn't just for pregnant people or postpartum.
No, it's really not.
If you're not engaging your core, you're not doing it right. So going to the backbone of all this stuff. And then I did have a girlfriend tell me, I was in a low spot. I was angry. And I mean, I loved Kingston. You know, he was great. That wasn't the problem. It was just me. You know, I wasn't myself anymore. So I had a girlfriend tell me that my baseline was low. And
I didn't know that's where the name came from.
Yeah.
Aww.
She, we were drinking beers. I just kept getting pissed off at everybody. She was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to call you out. Your shit's fucked up. Your baseline is low. And that's kind of where this came from. So
fast forward to COVID, you were just trying to get back into the swing of things and coaching and running retail and all this stuff. And then COVID happens, we shut down studios, and you're like, nope, let's get this solid group of people to work out of my garage.
Yeah, well, it actually started when I've always wanted to do my own thing. I just haven't really had the balls to do it. And I put a lot of energy into other people's things because I'm not going to half-ass it. So I couldn't give everything to multiple places. I was feeling like stretch, thin it, bleep, and at home. So I quit mainly because I didn't want to go teach 40 people in a room and bring home germs to my child when we didn't know what this shit was.
This was in the very beginning, too.
And I started doing online, like, classes, since I've been, like, class-based forever. That turned into online one-on-one training. And then Rachel Martinez now. She was the first one to come work out with me in my garage in Mount Pleasant, 1-car garage, mind you, and kind of grew from there.
I remember you posted something on social media and you said, hey, would anyone be interested in signing up for classes? And you had this overwhelming amount of people that said, absolutely, yes. Oh my God, please do it. And that's when this light bulb came up and you were like, I actually think I need to do something with this.
Yeah. Gosh, we need to find some of those videos. Yeah. And it was super organic and not easy, but the flow was natural and it has, like, grown and we've, turned into something that I didn't envision in the first place, but I didn't have, like, a set vision in the first place.
You were still trying to figure it out. You know, it was hard to play long game when
right.
every day
when I started doing online classes, I wasn't thinking, oh, you know what, I'm going to make a business out of this. It was to fill the time to work out and give people, like, some fucking sanity. I mean, I know 99% of my clients are moms. No, that's false.
It's
80%.
It used to be.
Whatever.
It used to be.
Yeah. And I know that feeling of being stuck at home. So I wanted to give them, a little outlet, a little accountability. And it turned into personal training, which I've always enjoyed. It's just not been my thing because, I like high energy and loud music. But that one-on-one attention, it really started to, poke at my brain that we should have been doing it the whole time.
And then so you got kicked out of your garage. Talk about that, because I think there are a lot of people who they automatically find these reasons to not do something, and you're like, well, fuck, we don't have like money to go rent a studio. We don't have
God,
time.
I think Dan was about to kill me at this point. Yeah, we just casually started, collecting people, working, 12 people out of my garage in the beginning, and then it was also hotter than.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was so hot.
And you were operating from 5 a.m. to and then evening classes.
Yeah. And we were keeping things super small because of COVID. So, but that trend really set in, and everybody started seeing massive results that I have been training these people. Shout out Micah for 8 years. And no one saw any changes until we started working out for 8 weeks. We saw a bigger change than we had in the whole time. And that's on me too. It's not I'm not blaming, bleep, 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 but those big group classes just didn't do it. I could never give attention, and you can make sure someone's not
injuring
I mean, you know what?
themselves
You really can't make sure.
No.
There's no way to make sure. And I've had people have seizures in class. I've had people, faint, puke, bust open an eyeball.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Oh, shit, that was bad. Let's not bring that up.
Yeah. Pass out on a bike. Heart attack. Oh, God. Maybe we shouldn't put this in there.
No,
but all this stuff is it's out of your control.
Yeah.
And you deal with it. But that shit shouldn't be happening.
It shouldn't necessarily always be that you're doing these intense classes. There can be intensity, but mindful intensity.
Right. Everything should have intention, and I don't believe in not everyone has the same grocery list. Not everyone should have the same workout. You're not going to you and I work out similarly.
We do now. But
that's how things have,
We used to think that it had to be one way, though.
Right.
Well, I did.
Yeah. I did too. I mean, just.
Even my yoga had to be hot. I had to be dripping sweat.
Intense. And I never saw, I just plateaued and burnt out and got injured.
My anxiety was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second? Anxiety. How's your double shot of espresso?
Do you see me kind of tweaking out over here a little bit?
I kind of like it though. I feel like that's your natural state.
But I haven't sat this still in
I don't know.
Cricket.
Since the last time you accidentally fell asleep.
Even then. Yeah. Anxiety is through the fucking roof. Always. I didn't really have it before, but I had a lot of nervous energy to just burn out like a hamster. But now I just, after Kingston again, I just didn't know where to place all of that energy, and I was depressed. So I luckily have a doctor who, helped me get on some antidepressant, anxiety, routine, and I've never been one to take medication.
Yeah. Only recreationally.
Regularly.
No, but
and
you really
I just said I chased Adderall with a 5-hour energy. No, I was fine. I was great. I was happy. I was,
Yeah.
And maybe I wasn't. Who knows?
That's actually a really good point.
Maybe
Some people go their whole lives feeling that anxious energy, but they don't. That's their normal.
Yeah. I didn't know what to do with it. So once I got leveled out and didn't feel like stabbing people, majority of the time, I was able to manage my anxiety a little bit better.
When you say anxiety, can you describe it? I feel like some people feel it differently.
Like, I feel like I'm in a vacuum. Like, something is just, like, sucking, like, just a lot of weight on me.
Okay. Like,
I feel, like, heavy.
Heavy chest?
Panicky.
Where do you feel it in your body?
Everywhere. My head gets really spinny.
Your lifestyle lends itself to a lot of anxiety, like little sleep.
Do it to myself a lot. Yeah. Lots of caffeine and wine and no sleep. And that's something that I need to work on.
But you are also the most self-aware person I know. Like, you couldn't be more self-aware, whether it be about anal prolapse or about double shots of caffeine.
I am aware whether I'm going to fix it or not. As I sip.
I will say, and we've had a lot of people on this podcast, and granted, I don't know all of those people and their exact day-to-days. Your lifestyle might be the most intense of probably anyone that we've had on the podcast. And I say intense as in, maybe frenetic is the word. Having inconsistent sleep and caffeine, but because you're building this big business, and I don't really think that people outside of Charleston might not understand this, but everyone, whether you're in Austin, Texas, or California, or Charlotte, you know someone who owns or has a fitness studio, or you've been to a fitness studio that was built off of blood, sweat, and tears, and minimal sleep and passion. With that being said, I don't think that people truly understand all that you have had to learn and do, and the uncomfortable situations you've had to put yourself in the past year to build baseline.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've put myself in those situations on behalf of someone else, but I've never, that was my safety net. If I fucked it up, it was, on somebody else's dime, and that wasn't my energy, but
now you have
it's a whole different story when you're the person, the only one that's going to make it or break it.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky to have you guys. I mean, I've got a great team, and it wouldn't be the same without like that energy and keeping that consistent. But behind the scenes, I mean, construction.
Construction, money, like big sums of money.
Ooh,
it's insane.
Anxiety.
Yeah, but the thing is that you're learning so much, and people are like, oh, I could never do what she's doing, like, or I could never go into those meetings or have those conversations.
I mean, I didn't know.
But you don't know what the fuck you're doing either. You're figuring out as you go.
You told me this, actually. We were talking about taxes, which is ironic. That phone call alarm. You said you just muscle through it.
Sometimes
and that's what
you have to muscle through it.
You got to put your head down. And I really try not to pay attention. I don't try not to. I just don't have time to pay attention to everybody else, which is good and bad, You
have your blinders on. And
I get sucked into this world because I'm trying, to learn and make minimal mistakes. And if I do make those mistakes, correct them quickly. Because it's not just my livelihood on the line. It's my employees as well.
And your son and your fiance and your
thank God for Dan. Dan is, the reason that I can do this. Puts a roof over our head.
It's a beautiful roof. Just damn gorgeous.
Thanks.
Your house, like people, I wish we could do a house tour. Like,
welcome we can to do that
cribs. Too. I'm going to walk around with my computer like, okay, look at this room, look at this room.
Like shove stuff in the corner. But I mean, I've had to learn budgeting, spreadsheets, numbers, back to the beginning, not my thing.
Literally, you're coming in with blueprints and you're talking about laying concrete and you're talking about these multi-$100,000 deals and have it like quarter millions, half millions, all these things, things that are foreign to me, obviously, but you're going into these meetings and you still have your big dick energy. I don't think that you get enough credit for the big dick energy. You walk in to a room full of men who are all in this industry, all like super comfortable talking about money and real estate and building things and big numbers, and you walk in and you're like, yep, exactly. That's my thoughts exactly.
Here's my change purse.
Yeah. You walk in with quarters rattling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in like jean cutoff shorts, like so inappropriate. I had no idea what I was walking into. Boardroom, hi. Like,
but they all respect you so much because of
it's taken a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, at first it's like, who is this girl? And I've been lucky to like build trust and relationships with people who do know what they're doing and kind of mentoring me through this. Mm-hmm. It's been a big learning curve, but that being said, like, it's not impossible.
No, it's not. I have a question. Okay, 2 things. 1, what would your advice be to someone who is maybe low in self-confidence but wants to either have a business or take a chance, take a risk, make some kind of change, but they're nervous too because they think that they don't have adequate skills or confidence? What would you say to that person?
You do. Like, you can muscle through it. Mm-hmm. You can learn and you can adapt. This wasn't the plan. It's so much better than, the plan. But just like having confidence to fuck it up and then fix it.
Yes.
Like, that's okay. You don't have to do it perfect the first time. And
who knows? Maybe
ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you don't know everything. Don't act like you do. And that got me a lot. Once I kind of like, you can have confidence, but still ask for help. Mm-hmm. Double check things. Don't take things for face value. And that will teach you a lot. Mm-hmm. But don't be afraid to fuck it up.
And then one resource. Okay, first describe baseline. What is baseline? What's on the horizon for it? And for anyone who's outside of Charlotte, what's a good resource for someone who's just getting into fitness?
Outside of Charlotte?
What did I say, Charlotte? Outside of Charleston. Outside of Charleston.
Come again?
What is baseline? Sorry, 3 questions in a row.
Rapid fire. My little brain can't handle. It's too full.
What is baseline?
Baseline is we're membership-based personal training. There really isn't a concept like it, and I hate saying that because it's like,
I love saying that.
We're unique. Everyone's unique. But it's based on individual. Uh-huh. We do memberships that encompass private training and group training. Our group training is up to 6 mm-hmm. on 1 trainer, and that's evolved. So we might have up to 12 or 14 people in a group setting, but they'll be divided up into like subgroups. Mm-hmm. So you have your go-to trainer. Mm-hmm.
And that's max. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be, hopefully.
And then,
sorry, we can edit this out.
No.
I have no fucking idea.
But it's okay. But that's okay because you have
I can't even
confidence.
count. I can't even count to 12. Yeah, we have small groups and personal training. So each package combines both because I believe that you have to do some one-on-one training to either fix your pelvic floor, like connect to your core. If you've got a bad back, we've got a lot of people with injury, and those one-on-one sessions target that, and then you can carry it into your group training, or if you're training somewhere else, or if you're working out at home. It's like the needle that threads the rest of the workout, or the rest of your routine. You'll be able to use your private training sessions for anything from physical therapy to, Pilates reformer. We'll have a nice, like really cool flexibility coach and
massage.
Yeah, a lot of cool things coming, but it's all built in one membership. So you kind of get everything under one membership,
So
one roof.
if you're super sore one day and you're like, okay, I'm not going to use my personal training today. I'm actually going to use that for flexibility.
Yeah. You can book, I mean, you can use your private for any and all of the above.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then team training, we're going to incorporate, cable systems, heavy weights. We've got a lot of things that are always catered to personal training because you need someone to spot you, to safely, do it. You need that attention. And I think this is the first of its kind in Charleston in the group aspect that you're going to have that high vibe.
It's
no
beautiful.
pun intended.
It's
But
true.
yeah, good energy, loud music, no black lights. I mean, no frills, but like a fun vibe, personal training.
But also that's not going to just spike your cortisol so that when you leave, you're completely dead.
Yeah, and you're going to get the most out of it because each workout is custom to you. We have a theme, we have a workout that we thread throughout the day, but we tweak it to each person that's in class. Mm-hmm. So you might not be doing the exact same thing that Jim is doing because you guys have separate goals or injuries, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mess up the flow of class. Mm-mm. Did I just answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you. Last question. I asked Dan this, and I gave you ample time to figure out your answer. I asked Dan at the end of the podcast, and I wanted to ask you the same question because I wanted to
think about it at all.
Good. I wanted you to think about what do you think Dan said, and then what would you do if you had $1 million?
Okay, right in this second, this isn't fair because if I had $1 million,
okay, not just
I'd pay back my loans. Mm-hmm. $1 million in fun money?
Yeah, like daydreaming money. What do you think Dan said, and then what do you say?
Dan probably said something practical.
Like what?
Okay, I'm going to cheat. I was going to cheat, but he told me last night.
Oh,
I can't be a cheater.
Oh, my God. What a bore.
Wow. Me and my morals.
I know. This is unfamiliar to me.
No, actually, I don't remember. He said he was going to buy 2 homes.
Yes.
And I said, we can't have 2 $500,000 homes. Why not buy one big one? I guess my point would be, you can edit out the long pause, right? Mm-hmm. My initial reaction was a lifetime of Bang energy drinks.
I hate you.
That's not on trend for this.
And we're not sponsored by Bang. No free ads.
I haven't had one in weeks. A small house on the beach.
All right.
I don't think $1 million would get me that right now, but
Myrtle Beach.
Hell yeah. That's where I grew up.
Oh, that's true.
I feel like I didn't answer anything about baseline correctly.
Yes, you did. Directly. Well, let's do a quick giveaway. Let's think about that. So, for anyone living in Charleston.
I'm sorry, I just heard something outside.
So, for anyone in Charleston.
I've been in here for too long.
You are making my editing job very difficult.
I'm so sorry. For anyone in Charleston that's, interested in baseline or not.
What are we giving away?
We're giving away a founder's membership.
Oh, hell yeah. Which is on the website. And we'll go over more details.
It's 8 workouts, and it's a combination of private and group training.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like $600. Oh, can I add something in?
Yes.
It is expensive. Yes, it seems expensive. Sticker shock.
Sticker shock is real.
Yeah, but if you break it down by session, it's not at all. And you get what you pay for.
You really do. There are a lot of trainers out there who either don't know what the fuck they're talking about or they just want a quick buck, and they'll drag you around. They'll reschedule all the time. It's not a clean environment. The aesthetic that will be in baseline, I've never seen. It's an amplified, elevated version of Equinox meets all other high-end boutique fitness studios, but with personal training. It's so badass. It's like metal meets luxe. It's really cool.
Yeah, garage chic.
It's garage chic. So we're giving away a founders membership, and all you have to do is follow both of us on Instagram, follow Baseline on Instagram, as well as Hotter Than Health, and make sure you post this on your social media. Take a screenshot of the episode, post it to your social on your stories, and tag the both of us, and follow the both of us, and you'll be entered into win. We'll choose a winner in about 2 weeks. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Where can everyone find you and Baseline on social media?
I was like, I'm right here.
You're like, please don't come find me.
Our Baseline Instagram account is sasserstudios.baseline. Is that what you asked?
Oh, yeah, I should have said that. All you have to do is head to Instagram and follow sasserstudios.baseline and follow Hotter Than Health. Take a screenshot of you listening to the podcast and share it to your social media. Tag us both, and you'll be entered in to win a founders membership, which is badass. Anyone out there, make sure you come check out and get your first week workout free at Baseline. And if you have any pelvic floor issues, call your girl Taylor. If you just want to be in an environment where you are getting high-end personal training, give Taylor a call. All right, we will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something. I hope that you laughed. I hope that it was as real as it was for me. I know that that was a funny episode. Audio, was it perfect? No. Are they ever? Not really. But I hope you all loved it. It was just a real conversation between two friends, and I think that Taylor Sasser deserves the biggest platform in the world to share her story, her wisdom, and just her energy. She's such a cool chick. Thank you so much, Taylor, for being on the podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, review, and follow. When I say subscribe, I mean follow. Just hit follow. It helps me out so much. Share this on your social media and make sure that you send this to a friend who is either pregnant, gonna be pregnant, wants to be, maybe it's just a female, maybe it's someone in Charleston and you're like, oh my god, you remember that crazy girl Taylor Sasser? Send it on over. Send it to all your friends. Send it to your mother. I'm sure she'll love it. Thank you so much for listening, and I am so excited for next week's solo episode. We have a juicy one for you there. Make sure you're following along on social media at Hotter Than Health Podcast and ElizaG_wellness. We will talk to you next week.